Today, I'm breaking down and ranking the top 10 strongest S-Class heroes in One Punch Man, and my number one pick will definitely surprise you. Now, I know the S-Class heroes already have an official ranking in the series, but come on, who actually trusts the Hero Association's biased rankings? So this will be my own personal ranking based on strength, feats, and overall power scaling. Starting with number 10, we have Bad, the Metal Bat. He was S-Class rank 15 until he resigned and joined the Neo Heroes as a Hero Association spy. At his core, he's just a teenager who loves and protects his little sister, and his primary ability is literally just fighting spirit. Basically, he gets stronger by taking damage and building up anger. And although there's obviously a limit to how much anger and damage he can take before passing out, he's shown an absolutely insane jump in power. You see, during his fight with Sage Centipede, Metal Bat's fighting spirit eventually increased his strength to the point where he, together with the fully monsterized Garo, was able to damage and crack Sage Centipede's defenses. That's insane, because Sage Centipede's durability was exponentially higher than that of Elder Centipede, who Metal Bat had previously failed to even scratch. Again, keep in mind, Elder Centipede was the first official dragon-level monster ever revealed, and Sage Centipede was an entire tier above that. This means Metal Bat was able to damage a monster that was beyond a traditional dragon-level threat. Of course, Garo and Sage Centipede were still significantly stronger than him, but when you consider how he went from being unable to damage Elder Centipede to actually damaging Sage Centipede, that's a massive leap. His fighting spirit factor alone gives him enough power scaling and aura points to earn a solid spot on this list. Plus, Murata once stated on stream that Garo would have died from Metal Bat's surprise attack in Chapter 58 if his sister hadn't intervened. Of course, that wasn't peak Garo, but he was still stronger than the version that hospitalized Tank Top Master. Now, while all this gets Metal Bat into the top 10, it's not quite enough to push him higher. Even during the Sage Centipede sequence, it was mostly Garo doing the heavy lifting, and there's also the implication that Metal Bat's success came partly because his attacks were being amplified thanks to Garo, due to the resonance of their similar fighting spirits. At number 9, we have Super Alloy Darkshine. He was S-Class rank 11 until he lost his confidence and quit his job as a hero. So how can we justify putting Prime Darkshine above Metal Bat? It's simple. He casually destroyed Garo. And not just any Garo, but a far stronger version than the one Metal Bat fought. When Metal Bat faced him, Garo was still in the early stages of his evolution, but by the time he fought Darkshine, he was already half monster. Yet Darkshine destroyed his ribs with a single hit, and Garo even acknowledged that this one hit would have outright killed him if he hadn't deflected it in time. Plus, even though Garo had already fought countless heroes, including taking casual jabs from Saitama himself, the narrator still went out of his way to describe Darkshine as being at the pinnacle of physical combat. That's the kind of glazing Yujiro Hanma gets from Baki's narrator. But unlike Yujiro, Darkshine is incredibly insecure, which is why, the moment Garo started breaking his limiter and overpowering him, Darkshine completely lost faith in himself. He ended up retiring from hero work after the Monster Association arc, and later joined the Neo Heroes as a training instructor. However, later in the webcomic, he eventually regains some of his confidence and even joins the battle against the organization. Also in chapter 156 of the webcomic, Dr. Bafoy, aka Metal Knight, told Genos that his battlesuit can exert roughly 1/3 of Super Alloy Darkshine's striking power. And with just that 1/3, Bafoy was able to knock Genos back several meters. Honestly, if it weren't for Darkshine's insecurities, which make him ineffective against opponents who can hurt him, we could have easily placed him higher. But as it stands now, he can't even fight, let alone defeat anyone we're going to talk about from here on out. For example, the hero we have at number 8 is Atomic Samurai. He's the current S-Class rank 3 and the strongest swordsman in the world. And honestly, there's every reason to place him above Darkshine. I mean, during Darkshine's fight with half-monster Garo, he literally said that if Garo had faced Atomic Samurai instead of him, Garo would have been killed before he could even show any of his techniques. Now, I know that was before Garo started breaking his limiter, but it still makes it clear what Darkshine himself thinks of Atomic Samurai's strength, and that self-acknowledged gap in power proves that it's impossible for Darkshine to ever defeat Atomic Samurai. After all, Darkshine can't fight any opponent he perceives as being stronger or even equal to him. Now let's look at Atomic Samurai's feats against the absolute top tiers of the Monster Association. Using the Sunblade, he was able to easily slice up Homeless Emperor's largest energy sphere into pieces, and he even cut off Golden Sperm's arm. Basically, he overpowered two of the top dragon-level monsters in the same chapter. Keep in mind, both Homeless Emperor and Golden Sperm are among the highest tier of dragon-level threats. Also about the Sunblade, it's actually a legendary ancient sword, and it's said that whoever wields both the Sun and Moon blades will gain unparalleled power and become the Swordmaster. Atomic Samurai doesn't have the Moon blade yet, but once he does, I imagine he'll reach an even greater level of strength. Overall, he's relative to Silverfang, considering the two have been rivals for years. And speaking of Silverfang, or should I say, bang, he takes the number 7 spot. He was S-Class rank 3 before he stepped down, and Atomic Samurai took his place. And although I just said Atomic Samurai is relative to him, make no mistake, Silver Fang is unquestionably stronger. Just like Atomic Samurai with the Sunblade, Fang was also able to overpower 2 top-tier dragon-level monsters from the Monster Association, Gums and Fuhrer Ugly. But what gives Silver Fang an edge over Atomic Samurai is that beyond those shared feats, he went toe-to-toe with the same Garo, who had quite literally ended Darkshine's hero career. This version of Garo wasn't just fully monsterized, he had already begun breaking his limiter. He was strong enough to destroy heroes like Darkshine, yet Silver Fang was still able to match him. By using his Awakening Breath technique, Fang reminded Garo that his master is still him. He's currently focused on rehabilitating Garo because he feels responsible for his students' actions, and hopes to guide Garo into becoming the hero who will one day take his place in the Hero Association. Before we continue, do me a quick favor, guys. We're working really hard to reach 100,000 subscribers and get that silver play button by the end of the year. So hit that subscribe button if you enjoy our content. It would mean the world to me. At number 6, we have our boy Genos, the Demon Cyborg. He's currently S-Class rank 11, and I know placing him above Atomic Samurai and Silver Fang might sound wrong at first, but hear me out, because you'll quickly see what I mean. First, let's look at his feats during the Monster Association arc. Genos' main accomplishments were when he fought the fusion of Psychos and Orochi, especially when he used his 10-second power burst. During these 10 seconds, Genos moved so fast that he left behind a glowing afterimage, almost like the shape of a blue dragon. At full power, Genos himself stated that he can fire energy blasts strong enough to destroy a giant meteor in a single shot, and using his 10-second burst last resort technique, the True Spiral Incineration Cannon, he managed to completely counter and neutralize an absurdly massive energy blast from the Psychos Orochi fusion. That level of firepower is above anything we've seen from the heroes we've talked about so far. Then he received another huge upgrade following that arc, which allowed him to completely destroy a dragon-level threat known as the Forest King. For comparison, Tank Top Master literally couldn't do anything against that same opponent. This new upgrade also came with a lightning core that lets Genos emit pure light energy. We even got to see him flex this new power in his rematch with Saitama, where he created a shockwave identical to the one Saitama made during their first duel back in Chapter 17. His speed has also reached a new level, considering how he could keep up with Flashy Flash in Chapter 193, though of course Flashy Flash was holding back. And the craziest thing is that Genos has had 2 more upgrades since then. Following the Neo Heroes Uprising arc, after being heavily damaged by the Extended Family of Darkness, Genos received an upgrade whose full power state lasts 30 seconds. That's already crazy because it's fundamentally stronger and lasts 3 times longer than the 10-second power burst from the Monster Association arc. But if you still don't think Genos is above Silver Fang, let me tell you about his final upgrade that Dr. Kuseno left him with. According to Kuseno himself, this upgrade combines Genos' latest system enhancements and makes him extraordinarily powerful, and we've already seen it in action. In this form, Genos was able to clean up some truly formidable robots from the organization. And keep in mind that the organization, whose mastermind is Kuseno himself by the way, has some absurdly powerful robots that make many of the monsters from the Monster Association look like jokes. Plus, in Chapter 155 of the webcomic, Genos one-shots Child Emperor's Super Brave Giant, which is not only Child Emperor's most powerful creation ever, but also the largest robot ever shown in the story. And it was specifically built to take care of threats like the Monster Association. I'm telling you, you're not ready for what Murata's going to cook with these upgrades once the manga finally gets to this point. But why is all this still not enough to get Genos into the top 5? Well, number 5 is gonna surprise you, because it's Metal Knight, or should I say Dr. Bufoy. He's currently the S-Class rank 4 hero of the Hero Association and the mastermind behind all of its most advanced weaponry, including the headquarters itself. Basically, everything high-tech in the Hero Association traces back to him. He also possesses the highest firepower and resources of any hero. To put that into perspective, Child Emperor personally stated in Chapter 149 that Dr. Bufoy's weapons surpass any individual hero. And while we can't take that statement completely at face value, since Child Emperor doesn't know about Blast's true strength, he does know what heroes like Tatsumaki and Silver Fang are capable of. Plus, when he said that, he must have considered his own creations like Brave Giant, and yet he still believed Dr. Bufoy's technology was objectively superior. Even when you factor in Child Emperor's Super Brave Giant, Bufoy's Metal series in Chapter 155 of the webcomic immediately proved to have a decisive advantage against it. Also back in Chapter 84, Gyoro revealed that Metal Knight is one of the 4 heroes capable of defeating Elder Centipede, alongside Tatsumaki, King, and Blast. Finally, let's talk about the recent webcomic fight. In Chapter 156, the latest chapter as of this video script, we finally got Metal Knight versus Genos. In that fight, Dr. Bufoy even brought out his personal battlesuit, equipped with an energy barrier for defense and self-repair systems capable of restoring damage after Genos blasted a hole through it in the previous chapter. However, despite its impressive design, it became clear that Bufoy, in this single suit alone, is not superior to the current webcomic Genos. So why am I still ranking him above Genos? Because Dr. Bufoy, as Dr. Kusano's arch-nemesis, represents the combined technological might of the Hero Association. There's Metal Knight, yes, but there's also Metal Pawn, Metal Rook, Metal Bishop, Metal Queen, Metal King, and countless other machines under his control. Genos simply can't take on all of them at once. And even in the current webcomic battle, there are too many external factors involved, including Saitama and Child Emperor. Ultimately, Genos can't even match Dr. Bufoy without Dr. Kusano's industrial capacity, let alone surpass him. Number 4 is Flashy Flash. He's the current S-Class rank 10, and for the longest time, he was one of the most underrated heroes in the One Punch Man fandom. But after his fight against Garo and Platinum Sperm, denying his strength became impossible. I mean, that battle was so fast that other S-Class heroes couldn't even perceive what was happening. Flashy Flash, Garo, and Platinum Sperm were moving at such insane speeds that they formed a geometric structure of light in the sky. And keep in mind, Platinum Sperm is far stronger than Golden Sperm, whose arm Atomic Samurai cut with the Sunblade. Plus, that version of Garo was also a level above the one who fought Silver Fang. Flashy Flash eventually couldn't keep up with the other two, but the fact that he was even able to participate in a three-way battle against Platinum Sperm and that version of Garo is already absolutely insane. It just proves that he's untouchable to anyone slower than him. Sure, his attack power might not be as high as someone like Silver Fang, but his sheer speed more than makes up for it. Another thing that sets Flashy Flash apart is that he was the first S-Class hero to defeat Dragon-level threats completely on his own. Before him, every Dragon-level monster was either taken down by Saitama or by multiple S-Class heroes working together. The ones he took down were the two monsterized ninjas, Gale Wind and Hellfire Flame, and he did it simultaneously. Flashy Flash actually comes from the same ninja village as Sputo Sound Sonic, and they even graduated from the same class. The two are rivals, but Flashy Flash is clearly above Sonic in both speed and skill. As you can expect, he also has a lot of pride, but he's not completely arrogant. For example, despite his pride and his speed, he openly admits that Saitama, Blast, Garo, and Platinum Sperm are faster than him. One last thing I want to mention here is that the reason Dr. Kusano was able to pull off the recent fiasco in the webcomic is precisely because heroes like Flashy Flash and Tatsumaki weren't around. Speaking of Tatsumaki, she's our number 3 on the list. She's the current S-Class rank 2, the strongest Esper in the world, and easily above every other hero we've talked about so far. I mean, she casually lifted and twisted the entire Monster Association base, defeated the Psycho Sorochi fusion, and still protected all the other heroes at the same time. Her psychic power is so insane that it can cause ripples across multiple continents. Even her arrogance and pride make sense, because no one in the Hero Association can really keep her in check. Blast is never around, and while she does respect heroes like Silver Fang and King, they don't bother saying anything to her. And honestly, it's not like Silver Fang is stronger than her anyway. Still, after her fight with Saitama, where he told her to stop destroying other people's stuff whenever she goes on a rampage, Tatsumaki's noticeably become less arrogant and a bit more open-minded. Also, during her fight with Saitama, even though she had already reached her limit, she managed to push herself even further just so she could try to launch Saitama into outer space. Granted, she only lifted him a few feet, but it still showed that her powers have no real cap, and she can grow even stronger than she already is. However, just like there's a massive gap between her and all the heroes below her, there's also a gap between her and the hero we have next. Number 2 is Blast, the S-Class rank 1 hero. He quite literally operates on an entirely different dimensional scale from everyone else. He's also the only hero, other than Saitama himself, who was somewhat effective against Garo's Cosmic Fear mode. I mean, thanks now from his space buddies, he was able to redirect the attack potency from Garo and Saitama's Serious Punch collision away from her. Of course, Blast alone wasn't strong enough to deflect that attack, and it's not like he was even comparable to Saitama or Garo at that point, but it still shows the level he operates on compared to the rest of the S-Class heroes. As for his abilities, Blast can open dimensional portals, which he uses for instant teleportation, interdimensional travel, and even redirecting attacks. In close combat, he can open smaller portals to strike from unexpected angles or dodge attacks instantly. He can also seal or close portals entirely when needed. On top of that, Blast can manipulate gravity and use it to enhance his punches or launch massive spheres of gravitational energy that crush anything in their path. He can even levitate and move freely in midair, and at times, he's even shown signs of telepathy, like when he instantly understood the bond between Tatsumaki and Fubuki just by touching Tatsumaki's head. Naturally, during his fight with Garo, Blast showed all of this at once, using portals, gravity, and raw speed to hold his own against Garo, who was frankly too much for him. His fighting style blends physical strength with spatial manipulation, which allows him to attack from multiple angles and overwhelm his opponents with speed and precision. Oh, and fun fact, his son, Blue, is now the leader of the Neo Heroes, the organization that seeks to challenge the Hero Association's monopoly on heroism. But wait, why isn't Blast number 1? And no, it's not because I want to put King at the top. As I said, number 1's gonna surprise you, and it's none other than Drive Knight. As it turns out, he was originally an incomplete AI Night created by Dr. Bufoy, but later improved by Dr. Kuseno into what he is now. Basically, as a being born from Bufoy's genius and perfected through Kuseno's, Drive Knight represents the pinnacle of technological evolution in One Punch Man. But how does that justify ranking him above Blast? I mean, his biggest victim in the Monster Association arc was Neon, who wasn't even on the same level as executives like Golden Sperm or Homeless Emperor. Sure, we saw him fuse with Genos against the Psycho Sorochi fusion, but even that doesn't fully justify giving him the top spot, since Tatsumaki's individual feats in that same fight were more impressive. Well, you know how Drive Knight has different modes which he can transform into, right? You see, the real reason I'm putting him here at number 1 is because in Chapter 156, Drive Knight removes his limiter and activates Saitama mode. This is a temporary, abnormal transformation based on the data collected from Saitama's biology and combat analysis. And while the real Saitama effortlessly one-shotted him, the fact that Drive Knight can replicate even a fraction of the quantifiable power of the strongest being in the narrative, even temporarily, places his potential offensive capability above every other hero, including Blast and Tatsumaki. Think about what that means. Blast and Tatsumaki operate on a continental or dimensional scale, but Drive Knight's Saitama mode operates on the scale of the one being in the story who literally has no limits. Of course, Garo also used Saitama mode in the manga, but Garo isn't an S-class hero. And let me point out that Garo using Saitama mode isn't a thing in the webcomic, which means that the first character to ever use Saitama mode in the webcomic is the organization's strongest soldier, Drive Knight. And the fact that Saitama still one-shots him is irrelevant, because Saitama in the webcomic is portrayed as far more invincible than in the manga. He's just that guy. I mean, in the Genos training audiobooks, it's confirmed that Saitama can one-shot himself from yesterday, which is both insane and hilarious at the same time. So yeah, just like Garo Saitama mode was absurdly overpowered in the manga, Drive Knight using this mode, especially since it happens during a later and more emotionally charged arc, carries the same kind of narrative weight and implications. I can only imagine the absolute chaos Murad is going to cook up when he finally adapts this part of the webcomic into the manga. We know how he gassed up Empty Void, especially in the previous redraws, so you can only imagine what he'll do with Drive Knight's Saitama mode. Oh, and by the way, Drive Knight also has King mode, and speaking of King, I'm ranking him at number 0, because King essentially represents Saitama's power. If we scale his power to Saitama's and his aura to what the public thinks of him, he is the character that truly stands at the pinnacle of the One Punch Man world. Finally, before we end the video, I also want to mention Watchdog Man. He could have easily made it into the top 10 because his feat of low-diffing that version of Garo who had already beaten Tank Top Master is genuinely impressive, but since we still know too little about him, he's staying as an honorable mention for now. And with that said, this is my definitive ranking of the top 10 strongest S-class heroes. Do you agree? Or did I completely fumble the bag? Let me know your own top 10 in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smashing that like button and subscribing for more is the best way to support the channel. We're on the road to 100K, and every sub helps me keep making these videos for you.